Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Jenna Murillo. You are watching Workspacery TV, and today I am so excited to dive in with you all about content planning. Now, this is a highly requested video that has been asked for over and over again, pretty much since the Content Planner launched in our shop last year, and I thought, what a perfect way to do a Workspacery episode on exactly how I use this planner and how you can get the most impact from it as well. So today we're going to be diving into all of that, how you can use it, how I use it, and then also just all kinds of tips and tricks on how to get the best impact from using your content planner. Now, right now, this is the current edition that exists in the shop. It comes in 3 colors. I'm obviously using the black, and then there's a blush and evergreen cover design as well, but the interiors are identical, so the cover design is totally your preference. And for the sake of today's video, I'm going to be using some colored Papermate Flair pens. So I have like a pretty kind of pinky magenta-y color, and then this like really pretty aqua teal, and then kind of this like golden color. And then I always keep a black pen. This is the Sharpie pen on hand anytime I'm doing any kind of planning, because color coding for me is just a brilliant way to stay organized. It helps keep things like visually organized for me so I can see at a glance quickly the separation between like business and personal tasks, etc. But I'll break that down a little more as we go along. But just so you know, these are the pens that I'm using today. And I use these quite often and highly recommend them. I also am a big highlighter fan. So let's say, for instance, I'm only using a black pen for whatever reason. Sometimes I'm just in the mood to stick with black pens. In that case, I still color code using highlighters because I love highlighters. And again, the color coding is like a lifesaver for me. And I just want to point out a couple that I'm loving right now. I always called them Mildliners. They're by Zebra. They're Mildliners, and I've like literally called them Mildliners for probably a year or more now, but these are my favorite. They're dual tip, and I don't know if you guys can see these or not, but I will link everything below so you can check it out. The OOLY, so there's a brand called OOLY that I'm obsessed with, and they also do like a dual tip highlighter in really pretty colors. I love those as well. And then I'm also using some really pretty highlighters that I don't have. Let me see if I have one on hand. Okay, not right here, but I got them from the Target dollar spot. So it was like a 6-pack for, I don't know, like 6 of them or something. And they just came in pretty spring colors. So anyway, I am not super picky when it comes to my highlighters, but I just like to have some pretty colors on hand. And those are the ones that I've been using lately. For the sake of this video today, I'm actually going to have my face off camera so that you guys can physically see what I'm planning here on my desk. So I'll have the camera pointed right at the content planner so you can see everything, and I'm not just talking about it, because I think it's so much more helpful to literally see what's happening in it. If you have a content planner, I highly encourage you to go ahead and break that out and use it along with me, or at least reference the pages so you know exactly what I'm talking about as I'm going along. Okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into Plan With Me session, how to use your Workspacery content planner. Okay, so as we dive in, again, these are the colors and pens that I'm going to be referencing, but here is the content planner. It is a pretty small, easy size. Let me zoom in to make sure you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about here. And it is a soft cover, which is really lightweight and convenient. So when you first open the planner, it just opens up to a title page here, which gives you the opportunity to write in your name. As you can see, this planner is brand new, and that is on purpose because the one that I'm currently using is very well loved. I'll just say that. So I started with a brand new planner so I can take you guys through it from square one, just like you might be doing yourself, so you can see literally everything from start to finish. So a place to fill out your name there, or your company name, whichever you prefer. Okay. And then you're greeted with a note from me, as well as what's included in the book. And this is the list of everything that we're going to be going through today. So let's go ahead and dive in. The very first section that you come to here Again, I just want to make sure you guys can see exactly what I'm focusing on. This very first section that we come to here is the ideal client profile. Let me hold this up here just in case. Okay. So the ideal client profile, it is 2 pages, well, 1 spread, as you can see here, and it helps you really just kind of identify who it is that you're going to be talking to. So in this case, I left room for you to get very specific about who this person is, including the name, gender, location, age, occupation, marital and family situation, and then it goes through a ton of other notes, lifestyle notes, goals, aspirations, pains, frustrations, fears, loves, common objections. Those are good things to know. Core values, what they're great at, what they're not so great at, what motivates them, where they gather information, like where do they spend their time gathering information? Is it from word of mouth, friends and family? Is it online, through referrals? What is it? Life mantra, and then any other notes you want to include there. But this is a very, very detailed client profile breakdown. It really gives you the opportunity to get to know who it is that you're going to be messaging to through your social media, through your blog, through your content, so that you just get very clear on who this person is that you're talking to. And yes, I narrow it down to one person by telling you to give them a name, because I think sometimes when you literally have one person in mind, it's just so easy to talk to that person when you are creating your content, when you're writing your content. So this is a really, really helpful exercise, and I will go ahead and fill some of this out now with you while we are doing this together. And just so you know, as I go through this, I am kind of basing it off of my current ideal client profile that I already have written out in my other content planner. Her name is Amy. She's in the Midwest. She is 28 years old, works from home for a tech company, married, no kids. She and her husband recently renovated their house, or they're in the process of doing so, and just very excited for all that life has to offer them. And then anyway, I recommend going through every single category here as you continue to fill this out. But it really just helps you, again, hone in on who that person is that you are talking to. So if you have any questions about this spread specifically, of course, let me know. Moving into the content idea accelerator. Okay, so I'm really excited about this because this really just helps you write out the basics of what you and your company has to offer. And if you are very clear on your brand already, this is going to be very easy. You'll fly through this section because some of this will feel like no-brainers. But if you are still kind of working through who you are and what your company is all about and what you are here to offer, this is a really great exercise for you to start diving deep into those questions and really put some intention and thought behind them. So some of the questions listed here are: what services and products does your company offer? That's pretty straightforward. Why do you love offering this to your clients or services? So like, what is your why behind it? Why did you get into this specific business, and what really lights you up about what you do? Why should your audience care about the thing that you're offering? What's in it for them? So the number one thing when it comes to any kind of content planning is what is in the message for your audience. What are you doing it for? Why should they care? Why should they be excited? How are you transforming them? So that is just kind of an underlying message I want you to keep in mind throughout this whole planning process. How do your clients or customers feel before they encounter your products or services, and how do they feel after? So what kind of state are they in when you first meet them, when they first come into contact with your brand, and then once they have bought your products or services or have interacted with you in some way, what transformation are you providing to them? How are they going to feel afterward? What does their life look like after they've interacted with you? And just, how has that transformation occurred? So that is a really important thing to highlight, because you want to identify who they are before and how you're changing their life, essentially. And then on the right side, there are kind of more abstract, personal questions to get into. What are some other things you love to do and talk about? And this is like related or unrelated to your business. So I have here, do you have pets, a favorite food, a favorite store or a hobby? Because your audience wants to get to know the person behind the brand too. So be sure you're just being very open and authentic and sharing a piece of yourself in addition to what your company is offering and how your company is helping them. Go-to adjectives and feelings can help you stay consistent with creating the right vibe for your brand. So what are some descriptive words you associate with your brand? What colors speak to your brand and aesthetic? And what, as far as objects, location, style of imagery, what are other notes that you can write down that are tied to your branded content? So these are all questions to think about in regards to your company, what you're offering, who you are, what you're all about, what kind of transformation you're offering. All of this content, laying this out now, is going to help keep it top of mind and also help guide a lot of the content that you're creating on a regular basis for your customers. I'm not going to sit here and fill this out right this second, but again, if you have any questions on any of these sections, please let me know in the comments below. Okay, and now we are diving into the planning portion of your content planner. To kick things off with this section, I'm actually going to share a little tip with you that I love. So the rest of the planner is divided into 3 essential sections. There's a brain dump and mind mapping section. There is if I move forward far enough, a monthly planning spread and layout, and then the weekly planning spread. So I love to, because these sections are so vital and I'm constantly flipping through them, I like to make them easily accessible. Ways you can do that are adding tabs, post-it notes, paper clips, or stickers, which is what I'm going to use here today, to essentially create makeshift tabs so I can easily flip to these 3 different sections without having to like page through the whole planner every single time. So I'm just going to pick colors, and at the first page of each section, I'm just going to fold this over like a tab. These stickers are the ones that actually come with your 2019 Refresh Weekly Planner, and that's what I'm using today, and I like them because they're nice and thick and smooth, so they'll be easy to like get to in the planner. But you can use any kind of stickers, of course, and paper clips are a really great way, post-it notes, whatever you prefer. Okay, so now you can see, like even when I close the planner, you can, I don't know if you guys can see there, but where let me try to zoom in on that, have these little colored tabs, you can easily flip to the correct section. So I know that purple starts my brainstorm and mind mapping section, so that is where we're going to start right now. Now, like I've mentioned time and again, the planner is really minimally designed so that you can use it however you plan best. However, there is a little structure already set in stone in case that is your preference. So the first section here is the brain dump and mind mapping section. On the left with brain dumping is space for you to jot down lists and write out ideas in a line format. On the right side is the mind mapping section that is completely blank, except every other spread does have a tip here at the bottom, just a handy little starter if you're having trouble getting started with planning. That can sometimes help you get those ideas rolling. In this instance, for the spread, there are 12 of them. The planner is designed to take you through a full year. So one way, and the way that I personally use this spread, is to use one spread per month. So for instance, if I'm focusing on April, I would just start, I'm going to break out the colors here. I'm just going to start by writing April at the top of each side so that I know what month I am starting on. And personally, I like to use the lined side for lists of ideas that I might have, and then I use the map it outside for like brainstorming different categories and building off of that. So if you guys have seen, let's say, I'll just do this for Instagram. Let's say Instagram is my central. So from there, maybe I want to focus on areas, different topic categories that I'm going to be working on that month. So like promotions, I want to make happen. I'll do one for like, oh, fun stuff. So fun stuff, I include like personal stuff, fun quotes, whatever, stuff that's relevant but not directly tied to like sales for me necessarily. And then maybe I do like an education category. Okay, so from here, I can start brainstorming ideas in those three categories on in the mind map section for April. And this is just to get your wheels turning. This is nothing set in stone. The space is here for you to have fun with, and it shouldn't be perfect, to be perfectly honest. So if you aren't into the idea of planning per month like I do, you can use these spreads, for instance, to plan for an upcoming lunch, for a campaign, for a collaboration you have coming up, and focus the entire spread on that specific thing. If I don't use them for months, I will also use them for launches, because launches take a lot of planning when it comes to content layout as well. And then, of course, like I said, on the left side, I'll just use that more for lists and bullet pointing, more specifics about certain ideas, things that I want to be sure to include. Moving on to the next section, this is the monthly spread. So because this is a dual monthly layout, there are only 6 of these spreads, again, designed to take you through an entire year. And the monthly spread is pretty self-explanatory. You can write in what month it is. So let's say we are on April, and then I'll go ahead and put May below there. And then you can literally write out the days, fill in, because this is an undated calendar, so go ahead and fill in the exact like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 all the way through so that you have your calendar ready to go. And now how I like to use this spread personally is by starting on the right page with important things to know. The categories that you'll see here say events, collaborations, promotions, and goals. This is such a useful section because it helps you identify in these 2 months everything that is happening in regards to those four categories this month. So any events coming up, and by events, I mean, I'm talking personal and business stuff. So it could be events that you have planned for your business, but it could also be birthday parties and travel time. So I write literally all of that down under events, collaborations, any partnerships you're doing, giveaways with other people, maybe you're working on an opt-in together, whatever it might be planned for these 2 months, go ahead and write that out. Promotions coming up, do you have any big product launches or anything specifically that you're going to be promoting seasonally or whatever it might be? That goes here. And then goals at the bottom. This is more for, you can use this space obviously however you wish, but personally I like to use it for goals related to like sales and conversions, and also goals as simple as posting once a day on Instagram the entire months of April and May, whatever it might be. And then once I have these all written out, so let me go ahead and do some of those. Once I've kind of written out some of the things happening and mapped out my month, then I literally just take the things that are happening and pull them over to the monthly spread so I can visually see what my month looks like. So I'll do that now. Okay, so obviously I'm not filling this out in full detail, but just so you can kind of see how I'm doing this, I just pulled over the same exact colors. This is when color coding is so helpful. I pulled over the same exact colors to the calendar view so I can very easily see that blue are my events coming up. The gold are any opt-ins that I have, which I wrote one down for May. Again, these are all kind of made up, but just so you can understand. And then I have a spring launch happening on April 1st, and any other launches would also be in that color and promotions. So that just gives you an idea of how I use this spread together. And this is something that you'll keep referring back to over time because you'll keep filling in the months with different things that pop up on your schedule, on your calendar, different promotions that you want to focus on. So that is a very brief overview. Now, on the final portion of the content planner are the weekly planning spreads. This takes up literally the second half of the planner because there is one page dedicated per week, takes you through the full year, so there's enough for the entire year. Again, there is some structure provided on these spreads, however, you can use it however works best for you. For today, I'm going to show you how I use it, and hopefully that'll give you some inspiration in your own planning journey. So for the week of, you can see that it starts with Monday at the beginning with the weekend falling at the end. That is because that is how all of my planning tools through Workspacery are designed, but also engagement for most social platforms is highest during the weekdays for most. Don't quote me on every single one because I believe Pinterest peaks on Saturdays. I don't know. There's a couple weird ones in there. But for the most part, content is most highly engaged with during the week. So I prioritize that. And then there's also a notes section down here at the bottom that you can use and reference as well. But so for the week of, what I do is I flip back to, let's say we're planning for that first week of April, which happens to start on a Monday. So I would literally write April 1st through the 7th for a Monday through Sunday span here at the top. So this would be set up for the first week of April. You can go through each one and write Monday 1, Tuesday 2, Wednesday 3 to highlight the days. I don't personally do that, but if that makes it even easier for you to transfer the content and think ahead during this planning process, then I highly recommend that. So for each day of the week, this is where I map out the specific content that is tied back to all of the promotions and launches and events and collaborations that are happening that I just mapped out in the monthly spread. And just like in the monthly spread, I am going to keep these color coded. However, you can kind of do that a couple different ways. You can pull over the same color coding system that you use in the monthly spread, or personally, I like to switch up my system here and focus on the different social platforms. So I mostly have a presence on Instagram, on my blog, on Pinterest, and on Facebook. Those are the big four that I focus on. For content planning in this journal, I actually just narrow that down to Instagram and my blog. Everything else is kind of derived from that planning process. So if I can at least get my Instagram and blog planning done here on paper, then I know how to pull it through on Pinterest and Facebook as well. So in this instance, I'm just going to pick two colors. Let's do blue for Instagram and this kind of magenta color for my blog. Now, my blog, personally, my blog drives a lot of my content throughout the week, in addition to, like I said, launches, etc. But my blog, I will publish once, maybe twice a week, depending on what's happening that week. So let's say Monday, it is a brand new month and April 1st is on a Monday. So let's say this is the April calendar. And then I also wrote in a Workspacery TV episode on Wednesday. Normally I would write the specific topic of what that episode is so that I know exactly what I'm like pulling through there. So let's say, okay, so that's the blog. So then I take my other color and focus on Instagram. So of course, if I'm launching the April calendar on Monday on my blog, I'm probably going to launch that as well on Instagram and talk about how you can go grab that freebie. And I did the same with the Workspacery TV episode. I'm a big fan personally of keeping like messaging similar throughout the different social platforms everywhere that you're talking that day, like on any given day. So, for instance, if I'm going to be launching something big on a Monday, I'm probably going to be talking about that big thing on all the different social platforms, but making sure the specific content that I post is friendly to that audience on that platform. So, the exact thing that I post on Pinterest is going to look different than what I post on Facebook, which is going to look different than what I post on Instagram. And my strategy for fleshing out that content throughout the week or over the next few days is also going to look different. But keeping my general messaging on any given day cohesive on my different social platforms so that wherever people are finding me, I am like talking about a similar thing just in a slightly different way is the strategy that I like to use. You don't have to do that, of course. I'm just sharing what I do through my own content planning. So then, of course, I would go through each day of the week. I also know that, I strive to post once a day on Instagram. That's just, again, my personal strategy. However, on Wednesdays, I always do what I call Workspace Wednesdays. So I'll go ahead and write that in where I share a featured workspace that day. And let's say Tuesday, I'm going to do a quote. And I don't have to know the specific quote that I'm going to do that day, but just so I know what is happening on Tuesday. Thursday, let's say, is a productivity tip for the workspace. Maybe Friday, I'm doing a Friday intro because I'm really bad about doing those. And so I have to remind myself to work them in. And then I also do post on Saturday and Sunday. So maybe I'll do a little sneak peek on Sunday of what's coming that week. Saturday, I usually keep it pretty light and inspirational. So for now, I'm just going to write inspirational posts. That can be honestly anything. But anyway, there's also space for each day to check off when the content has been created and when it has been scheduled and published. You can use that section if you want to, if that is helpful to you. If it feels like too much pressure and you don't want to use it, don't use it. But I personally love to be able to check off when I have the content created for different days. And then I just have to go back in and make sure it gets scheduled as well along the way. I like to bulk create my content. So checking these off makes me aware that it has been approached and taken care of and it's ready to go. One final way that I love to use this layout is if you are tracking specific goals that week. So let's say you launched a giveaway on Monday instead of an April calendar. You are launching a fun giveaway with yourself or just by yourself or with as like a collaborative effort with a partnership. So you can come back in here every day of the week and keep track of numbers and stats, conversions, whatever you want to do. Using the weekly layout to come back and keep a record of those things is a really great use. So let's say you launch a giveaway on this day and you started at, just for instance, 1,000 followers. Your goal is to get to 1,200 through this giveaway by the end of the week. So every day you come in here and you write down how much your following has grown that week. Maybe you had a great start and got up to 1,200 in the very first day. That's awesome. Maybe a little bit less in the second day. So anyway, this is just a great way for you to track more detailed, like nitty-gritty information as well in the weekly layout. It gives you plenty of space to do more than just map out your content. You can keep track of those details too. Okay, you guys, so that is it. Those are all the tips and tricks and ideas that I have that I personally use that you can also implement in your own content planning system. And like I said before, this content planner is really minimally designed for a reason so that it gives you a little bit of structure, but plenty of freedom to design at your own will, at the pace and the methods that you love to use best. And it's also just super portable, which I like. You can throw in your bag. It's really lightweight. The soft cover is really nice and smooth. So there's a lot of benefits to using a physical, tangible planner where you can get all of your ideas out on paper and really just go to town on brainstorming and planning and not be stuck behind doing it all on a digital screen all the time. So The content planner, like I mentioned, is available in my shop currently. I will drop those links below. If you haven't checked it out already, I highly encourage you to do so. If you love this video and you want to see more plan with me videos or more like planner organization tips and ideas and tricks, like this video, let me know in the comments below so that I know what you guys love most so I can keep doing videos like that. Otherwise, I have more fun things coming up around your workspace, your home office, productivity, always things just in the queue that you guys are asking for that I'm so excited to put out for you. So be on the lookout for more exciting videos coming soon. And be sure to subscribe below so that you catch all the latest Workspacery TV episodes because we have so much fun things coming out. And you can also follow along with me over on Instagram. Instagram at Workspacery is where you can find me, and that is where I'm having conversations every single day with you guys, so I'd love to see you there too. Have an amazing and productive week, and we'll see you next time.